Hello YouTube, Sunday the 20th of October, and it's just a quick update for myself as well as everybody that likes to see what's going on, of what's in the plot at the moment, which isn't really a lot. I'm just doing a little bit of a harvest for dinner, but you can see there that the field beans are all coming up. They're all in this bed all the way up, and those here are the aquadulce. They're coming up as well. I think they've been in a fortnight roughly, and also in this bed here as well some more field beans, as you can see. Over there, asparagus. I was going to take that out. My thoughts were beginning of last year, but I put a load of muck on them, and they seem to have produced quite a lot more stems. I haven't had much of a yield off these, but there's quite a few stems there, so I'm going to give them another 12 months and see how they perform. And then the rest of this bed I might get some more crowns for and fill up that half of the bed there, so I've got a full bed there of asparagus. That's the plan on that. I've just pulled one of my celery. I think that looks good. The smell is absolutely unbelievable. I did mention that there's two varieties in here. You can see the one variety is totally gone to seed, and the other one, which I believe is Victoria, hasn't. So we're going to get in pulling those now and start using all those up for soups, and some in my bait box for work as well. So I think they've come out well. That's the best celery I've ever grown. It's never produced very well in the past, but putting them in these pallet collars and building them up as they've grown and keep watering them seems to have kept the light out a bit and forced them a little bit better. So looking forward to them. Parsnips, I'll just pull one of these now and you can see what these are like. Enough there for the wife and I for dinner. They're nice and clean. And also the long carrots as well. I'll just pull them at random. Well, there's two in there, which I didn't expect. No length on those, but they're clean and tidy. I will just pull this other one. Oh, blimey. Should have just pulled the one by the looks of it. That's a huge carrot compared to... But, yep, you would think that these big carrots and the long ones would be tough, but they're not. They're very tender and they're tasty. They've got a nice flavour to them. The internal colour is a lot lighter than the sweet candle that I grew. Yeah, that's very good. Looks like we might be having carrot soup, I think, as well as roast carrots. So that's something for the house for dinner today, and probably soup and what have you for later on in the week as well. I have potted up some strawberry runners there that I've taken this year, and there's half a dozen there. I've got some more that I'm going to plant as well into the ground, but I'll leave these outside until about February time. They need a frosting. They're a bit like garlic in some respects. They need the cold weather, and they'll produce a lot more fruit buds that way and stems for growing. So in February I'm going to take those inside and hopefully get an earlier crop off those half dozen. They all look well, and if I keep them inside, this is a variety that should produce twice in one season. The ones which are outside, which are a bit further down there, I'll show you. They have got more strawberries on them, but I don't know if they'll ripen or not. I've got these 2 buckets of artichokes to harvest, and I will be replanting. You can just see where the bulges are on here, so there is something in there, and I should be replanting them into a couple of 50-litre buckets to see how they go, because these are obviously too small a bucket for those. I've dug out the compost bin there, ready for autumn leaves when they start to fall. They are just showing the faces at the moment, but nothing in abundance yet, so hopefully I can get that full. Didn't collect any last year, and I've been kicking myself. And no sign of the garlic yet, which I've planted elephant garlic and ordinary garlic. Underneath this mesh here I have my overwintering onions, Snowball, Radar and Electric. I think I've sown only 2 rows of each, which will give me about 50 onions, which should be ready about June-ish, I think. There was a lot more in the packets, but they don't store very well, only a couple of months, so I don't think I'll need any more than that. And then just in there I've got some shallots. No sign of those coming up either yet. Otherwise everything else is, you can see the mycorrhizal fungi on the soil there. Celeriac, I grew monarch last year and it was great, and as you can see, that I can't remember what this variety is, but they haven't grown as well. I'll just show you in there. The ones I grew last year were 3 times the size of that, and I've treated them all the same. So like I said in my 3 things I've learnt, if it's not broke, don't fix it. If something grows well for you, keep growing it. Parsnips in the ground, no dig. See, I've got a mouse hole down there, but you can just see there's some shoulders on that. Don't know how deep they are. I'm going to leave these until they've got the frost. I'm just using the ones up out of the buckets, big containers up there, because I want to dig those out and get those moved. Couple of pots here with the bulbs off the bottom of the elephant garlic. They've been in since I harvested the garlic and no sign of anything yet. I don't know if they need the cold and then they'll come up in the spring. I don't know if anybody knows about those. Leeks are a disaster again. You can see by the leaves there, I think that's the allium leaf miner again. Although they don't seem to have gone all the way down to the bottom, so I will cut one off and open it up and see. It might be slug damage, I don't know, but I'm not 100% sure. Looks like allium leaf miner to me. And I don't usually get it, but last year and this year I've had it in the leeks, but I didn't have any in my onions. Beetroot, we're still picking this. This was late sown beetroot, and there's plenty of small beets there, and they're doing well. We haven't touched the ones we just stored. We're trying to use these up before the frost come. And lettuce, that's growing, still growing well. Freckles is the one variety. I can't remember the other one. But we're picking the outer leaves, but as you can see, they are starting to heart up. And these are the tomatoes, which are, that one is ripened. That's ripened a lot in the last couple of days. But there aren't many on there, and I think if I kept them indoors, I would definitely have had a second crop off those. You can see that all these runners, they are all starting to take into the compost, and I'm just wondering if I could pot some of these up. I was a bit late, should have had them in pots. That's one that didn't take, but I have got about 40-50 runners, and this bed I'm going to take out and replenish it with some new ones. 4 oak trees growing there in buckets. They're all self-setters that the squirrels have buried in the garden. They've all come out of the vegetable plot. And the idea is to keep them in a bucket and keep them as a dwarf tree. And when I get my small pond in, I can move them around the edges of the pond as and when I wish. And the brassica covers are on. I did do a video a couple of days ago, which I'll tag on to the end of this, just showing my brassicas. So I won't show them in detail now. And there is some of the spinach that we're still using. That should keep going. It's quite hardy. It grows well this time of the year, spring and autumn. Doesn't like the heat. And that's pretty much what's going on. I have ordered today the polytunnel, so that is something that I will keep you up to date with. I'll show you where I'm putting it, and also progress on putting it together. DIY is not my speciality, so that should be fun and games. See, there's a self-set sweet pea there. It's not going to stay there, but I won't pull it out. I want to see what happens to it over the winter, so I'll just leave that in. And that's just about all that's going on in the plot. It's nice to clear down and see it empty. It's nice to see. We'll all look forward to seeing it full again in the spring and the summer, but it's been a lot of work, and it's nice just to be able to sit back and look through the seed catalogues on a cold winter's night. So I'll probably tag on to the end of this video the brassica one that I did the other day. Just thought I'd better quickly update you on what's going on in the greenhouse as well. That unfortunately is the overwintering onions sets that I'm not using. I've used the best out of them, and as you can see, what was left was very good. But it's a shame, but there's no point in me planting them if we're not going to use them, if they're going to go to waste. So I have given some away, and if I can give those away, I will do. We've still got tomatoes in here ripening off. There's some of the squashes that are left. Tea bags there that I've got to empty out. I've got a few flower seeds in there in the propagator, and we've still got quite a few tomatoes here trying to ripen up. I'm going to make some green tomato chutney. I'm going to use Steve's recipe. In there I've got some apple seeds, apple pips that I'm going to try and grow from seeds, see how I get on with those. In the middle I've got that is a tomato that I've cut up and buried, the same as what Terry from Robotic Allotment Garden on a Budget is doing. So I'll overwinter them and see if they grow, and there's no doubt they'll grow in my mind, because if you look down here you can see there that there are some tomato seedlings which are growing in the capillary matting out of the buckets that I use for my tomatoes. I'm letting all that compost dry under there, and then I'll shake all the roots out and reuse the compost. The same with those others over there. And there I have some, those are some sets of some walking onions, or tree onions, and they've all come, so I will have some of those for next year to put out. I've put some garlic in pots there. As soon as they come through, I'll put them outside, and I'm going to put some of those in the polytunnel to see if I get an earlier crop and what the difference is in the crop. Strawberry runners there, they've all got to go out. And here are my Christmas potatoes. There's 3 plants there. You can see a difference in them. This one here is looks a stronger, healthier plant. It's a darker green, a bit more lush and a bit more compact. And that one was with the blood, fish and bone. The one in the middle, which is definitely a bigger plant and looks a bit more stretched, if you know what I mean, is that is potato fertilizer. And then the one with the chicken manure pellets is a cross between the other two, really. It's not quite as green, but it looks a healthy, strong plant. But the one which looks the leggiest and the lankiest is the one with the potato fertiliser in. Be interesting to hear the yields come on that. And that's what's going on in the greenhouse at this time of year. While I've got the covers off, I just thought I'd just show you the brassicas. Those there are cauliflower. They have had white fly, and I sprayed them about 2 weeks ago, and the white fly was very prolific, to be fair. That bed over there just behind had me sprouts and that in, and that all had to come out. I kept these nets on while I did that, and then a couple of days later I took the nets off and sprayed all these brassicas that I've got left for the autumn and winter and spring. And I've just lifted the nets to take off the bottom leaves, which are any rotting and going yellow. Stops the slugs from hiding underneath them, and there is still some white fly on them, obviously where patches where I've missed, so I've just given them another spray underneath. Not much, but it needs keeping in check. That's why the brassicas are looking shiny. They're looking well. I have got the odd caterpillar about, I believe. I managed to find one this morning, and there are some slugs about. It's that damp, wet time of the year now. You can see the damage on that and on all the leaves around the edges. I did find a green caterpillar on there, but I haven't had any cabbage white in here at all. Curly kale, that's looking well. But like I say, keep on top of these jobs with the white fly. Don't walk past them as soon as you see it. Do something about it. Neem oil is what I've used, as I said. And I just thought I would give you a quick look while the covers were off. And this one here is also cauliflowers. The way they're looking, you can see that there is some sort of a heart coming in those. So I would think that these ones here would be the first ones to come to fruit. I'll tag this on to the end or the beginning of another video, as I'm rushing about a bit because I'm off to work. And if you start a job, it escalates into another job, and before you know it, you end up being late. So that's a quick update on me autumn and winter brassicas. And it's been a beautiful morning here. It rained all night, but the cloud is coming across now, and we are due rain again. It woke me up, the rain in the night. But hope you all have a good weekend. Today is Friday. I think it's the 17th, is it? Somewhere about there. But I'll tag this onto another video. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.